What sort of environment will you want to create in order for you and the student to get the most out of the experience? That's what we'll look at in this presentation. By the end of this session, you'll be able to examine the factors to consider in creating the optimal environment for mentoring, assess the role of beliefs and attitudes in mentoring, and analyse the keys to building the relationship. Here's an exercise about the beliefs and attitudes of a mentor. Firstly, why are the mentor's beliefs and attitudes important in the process? And B, what key beliefs and attitudes would be important for a mentor? What were your answers to the first part of that question? The beliefs and attitudes of the mentor are critical to the process because our beliefs and values drive all that we do. Consciously, or more likely unconsciously, every single thing that we do because of the beliefs and values that we hold. If I meet someone new, for example, then my approach to them will be driven by the beliefs and values that I have. If I have a belief that it's a sign of complete disrespect to turn up 1 minute late to an appointment, and the person I meet turns up 5 minutes late, that will impact on my approach, even if I think I'm hiding it. In all our conversations and interactions, we project our beliefs and attitudes, and mentoring is no different. Whatever beliefs and attitudes that we hold as a mentor will have an impact on the mentoring relationship. And what about the second part of the question? What were your answers to that? Here are some important beliefs from NLP that can make a large contribution to the effectiveness of a mentoring relationship. First, that everyone has their own interpretation of events. Even if two people experience the same event, they'll each interpret it differently. The other day I was helping serve teas and coffees at a charitable event, and the person working alongside me got very upset because someone came and asked if they had to pay for the tea. And she interpreted it as the person trying to get something for nothing at a charity event. I had interpreted it as the person not being clear about the way things worked and just wanting to know if she needed to pay. Same event, same things happening, two different interpretations. Why is this important in mentoring? It's important to understand that your student will be approaching things from their perspective. So when you're mentoring them, you'll want to find out where they're starting from. How are they viewing the situation at the moment? And it also means that if something works for you, it may not work for someone else, because they'll have a different perception of the situation. The second belief is that it's important to have respect for the other person's point of view. This doesn't mean we have to agree with them or to like their point of view, but respect that they have the right to hold that point of view, and to respect that they have the right not to have the same point of view as us, and they have the right to think differently from us. The third one is that the meaning of your communication is the response you get. If you hold this belief, then as a mentor, this will mean you are very flexible when you communicate. It's so important when you're helping and influencing that you have this flexibility, so that you keep focusing on how you can communicate ideas, questions, etc. in the best way for the particular person you're talking to at the time. The person with the most flexibility is the person that has the most influence on any situation. If you write an email to someone, for example, pointing out that they're not doing something to standard, and they keep on doing the thing not to standard, then you will want to communicate in a different way in order to influence them. Maybe you'll want to word things differently, talk to them face to face rather than email, or use different types of language, and so on. But it's certain that if you keep on sending the same email that didn't work, you're likely to get the same response. So mentors who hold this belief are able to influence much more effectively. The fourth belief here is people are doing the best with the internal resources they have available to them at the time. By internal resources, I mean things like confidence, fear, determination, anger, motivation, guilt, energy. What happens is that the result for everything that we do is determined by our state of mind at the time. If I'm dealing with a complaint from a customer and I'm feeling confident and secure, my approach and results are going to be very different than if I'm feeling frightened. If I go into that situation feeling frightened, I will do the very best I can based on the state I'm in. Another example is if you get angry, then once you're in that internal resource, you will get certain results, often not what you wanted. And that's not because you're not doing your best. You are, but it's inevitable that you're going to get the results as long as you stay angry. To move forward and progress, you have to change your internal resource. As a mentor, it's important to remember that whatever results your student is getting, it's not because they're not doing their best. It's that they're accessing a less effective internal resource at the time. If they find a more resourceful state, then their results will change. So much of your role is to help them to access more resourceful internal states. The next belief is that people have all the internal resources they need to make the change they want. It's not that people have things missing, they are complete. It's just that they're not accessing the particular resource that would help them the most in the situation they're in. At some time in our lives, we have all experienced all the internal resources. We've all been at some time determined or decisive, confident, brave, strong, sad, happy, guilty, creative, etc., etc. I have clients that say things to me like, well, I've never been confident. And I'll reply, well, how confident were you brushing your teeth this morning? We all know how to do these things. It's just in certain situations we forget that we know. As a mentor, it's very important for you to recognize that your student has all these internal resources and to get them in touch with that fact. Because if they come to you with a problem, it's because they've forgotten temporarily that they can do it. So even if they don't think they're capable, you will want to support them because you know they have those resources. And lastly is the belief that everything is a result and you'll want to learn from the results and the feedback. The whole point of mentoring is about helping the student to reflect on the results that they're getting and to learn from them. This is about helping them to learn better. Helping them to seek out feedback, not necessarily from other people, although that can be a useful source, but also to seek out feedback in terms of what do they notice happens when they do a particular thing. What impact does it have? Is it what they want? What do they want to do differently next time? As a mentor, you will want to role model this attitude and to help your student acquire it. Blaming, making excuses, getting into unresourceful states, beating yourself up because you've not quite got the result you or the organisation want rarely helps. What matters is that you learn and move forward positively. So the first thing is about your beliefs and values, and the second thing is about building the relationship. There are three major components here: creating rapport, building trust, and creating a learning environment. In this exercise, write down what types of behaviours are important to gain someone's trust. What were your thoughts? Here are some example answers. Being open and honest on both sides is essential to an effective mentoring relationship. When that happens, then the student will know that they can bring anything to the mentoring session and get the help they want, and that anything the mentor does is done in the best interest of the student, even if it might be something that is quite challenging for the student. Doing what you say is a very easy way to build trust. If you say you'll send an email, then it's important you do so. If you say you'll introduce them to someone, then please do it. The work you do at the beginning of the mentoring relationship to make sure your expectations and the person you're mentoring are on the same wavelength is so valuable in building trust. And then there's integrity. Integrity means making sure you're fully skilled and qualified to mentor and that you keep yourself updated. and that you model the behaviours that you recommend to others. Then there's objectivity and balance. This means appreciating the balance between workplace practice and the information the student has been taught at university or school. These things combine to help build trust in the relationship. And here's the last exercise. Write down what you need to consider about the external environment in order to build the best relationship with the student. Some answers that you may have written down may have included making sure that you meet somewhere comfortable and private, that there are no disturbances. Normally, that will be somewhere away from their normal work. You'll want to make sure you're planned and prepared for the meeting, and that you help the student do the same. It's also worthwhile thinking about the timing of your meetings. What time would be best so that the student can get the most from the learning? You may well have thought of others that apply to your situation, and you may now want to think about how you're going to create the optimal environment for your student so that you can build a constructive and effective relationship with them.